Hello everyone! Welcome to the KJ channel. I'm Katherine Ann Angeles.
I'm a second Discutido.
And we are going to be your tutors for today.
Our topic for today are the 5 basic differentiation rules.
Rule number 1. The Constont Rule.
Going back to the previous lesson, we learned that the derivative of a function is also the slope of that function. And since a constant function has a graph of horizontal line from which its slope is equal to 0, the derivative of a constant function will also be 0. Therefore, we can say that every constant function will have 0 as their derivative. For example, if f of x is equal to 5, then the slope is equal to 0. Therefore, the derivative of the function is also equal to 0.
Rule number 2. The Identity Rule.
The identity rule states that if the values of delta y and delta x is the same as they were identical values, it will always be equal to 1. For example, if f of x is equals to x, then the derivative of f of x is equals to 1. Using Leibniz notation, d of y over d of x is equal to the limit of delta y over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. And since the values of y and x are identical, it is also equal to the limit of delta x over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. By doing some cancellation, it can be simplified as limit of 1 as delta x approaches to 0, which is equal to 1.
Rule number 3. The Power Rule.
Power rule states that if the exponent of x n is a rational number, then its derivative can be get by multiplying n to x raised to n minus 1. For example, if f of x equals to x cubed, then by following the power rule, the derivative of the function is equals to 3x squared. It is one of the foundation as you can derive some of the other rules such as identity rule and radical rule from it.
Rule number 4. Constant times a function.
Constant times a function rule states that in order to get the derivative of a function who have a numerical coefficient attached with it, one should first get the derivative of the literal coefficient, then multiply it to the numerical coefficient. For example, if f of x is equals to 6x, we first get the derivative of the literal coefficient x. Then, after cancellation, since it is d of x over d of x, we multiply it to the numerical coefficient 6. 6 times 1 is equals to 6.
Rule number 5. The Radical Rule.
Radicals are the simplified form of the variables with a fractional power. Under the radical rule, the derivative of the square root of a function is equal to the derivative of the radicand divided by the double of the root. For example, if f of x is equals to 2 square root of x, we first get the derivative of square root of x. And by applying the radical rule, We multiply 1 over 2 square root of x to its coefficient 2. Then, by doing cancellation, we now get that the derivative of 2 square root of x is equals to 1 over square root of x. This rule can be associated with the previous rule, power rule, as you can also get the same answer by making the radical in its exponential form and solve it by following the power rule.